there and welcome to that is Yamsishin TV. It's been a minute. Mkwaje? Mnaendeleaje? Mimi niko salama, naendelea vizuri. And yeah, Q1 imeisha. Q1 inaisha. Bado unakuwa auditions, bado unaendelea na Audacity. I hope so. Track your goals and have a meeting with yourself. Jita mkutano, ujijue. Welcome to part 2 of the healing series, but in the last part. Last time we talked about realization stage, shadow work, hating self, guilty stage, and self-sabotaging, those 5. And today we are exploring isolation, survival mode, self-belief, spark regaining, and the foundations lead stage. Let's get into it. After the shackles, of the realization, shadow work, guilt tripping, hating period, and self-sabotaging. Now you start coming up for air by isolating. You isolate yourself from people. Unajitenga na watu. It's important for you to realize that you are needed still and loved during that period. That period unajitenga na watu. It's important that you realize you're loved and you are needed and you're still wanted here. Why? You isolate yourself so that you can know or build that relationship between you and yourself. You get to know what are your values, what are the principles that you hold, how are they changing, or how have they changed, or why is it that this desire to heal and to form that relationship with yourself has come about. How do you go about it? Because you're going through it. You are going through it. Yeah. Treat yourself kindly during the isolation stage. Let's talk about survival. After isolation, you get to survival. Now you've known your patterns, you've known you can break them, you've tried to break them, but it kind of feels like you can't break them. So you go into survival mode. You just decide, okay, let me do what I can to just get through life, to just get through the day, to just get through the month, the week, the month, the year, the quarter, and everything. You're just living life. You're not living life, you're just getting through life. That is survival mode. The shadow work, you're doing it, but then you're discovering things and you're like, you know what, si lazima pia, what I know is enough. What I know is enough. Hii inaweza nifikisha si Timbuktu, but itanifikisha Kanyonyo. Itanifikisha Timbuktu, lakini Kanyonyo tutafika. So you start not wanting to get to Timbuktu, unataka tu kufika Kanyonyo. Unasema Kanyonyo ni sawa, mimi sina shida. Hiyo Timbuktu tutafika siku nyingine, lakini Kanyonyo tufike tu Kanyonyo. Mimi sina shida. You start being okay with whatever life brings you. You start be like, ni sawa. Sasa tutadu ni sawa. You start basically don't have your spark. You don't want to live life. You just get it by and through life. Then, after the survival mode, as you continue doing the shadow work, because your shadow work period will show up everywhere. It will show up everywhere. After you're done with surviving and you're still doing the shadow work, you start self-believing or giving it another try. Now, you start from scratch, Tena. Not really scratch generally, but now you start from ile shadow work without hating or guilty in yourself and self-sabotaging and isolating. Now you've already known the patterns, you've already known the cycle that naanzianga hapa, nafika hapa, narudi back to zero. So saa hii tunaanza, tukifika hapa, we are countering hii this way, we are giving it another try. We won't go back to zero. Instead of going back to zero when we are at a 10, tutajaribu to push to 12. Na tukifika to 12, tujaribu to push to 15. Tukifika 15, we are making sure we are getting to 20. This is you giving it another try. It won't be easy. Now your mind starts working with you, Sasa, when you're giving it another try, as you're believing yourself, as you're wiring your self-concept, your self-trust, your self-confidence, and your with self-relationship. Your mind starts being like, okay, no, go serious. Let me lock in. Let me buckle up because we are going to get there. Lazima tufike Timbuktu. Kanyonyo hatuishi, tunafika Timbuktu. You start, your mind and you now starts working together and be like, you know what? Yes. Jana tumesurvive. Give it another try. Leo give it another try. Kesho another try. Kesho kutwa. 1 month down the line, you're doing better. The second month, the third month, your brain is actually working with you. Anytime unajiambia ati I can't, wake up. You can. What do you mean you can't? Have you forgotten the last 3 months? Have you forgotten the last week? Have you forgotten where you were 3 months ago, 6 months ago. Kebu amke. That's how your mind starts now telling you. And now this relationship between you and yourself, it's now when you try to pull yourself down, this other part of you is like, no, we are not going back there. You've already formed that self-believing, or you have already formed the art of giving it another try. You're already believing in yourself enough to give it another try. Mbona turudi huko? Ni nini unataka kuturegesha Misri? Tunaenda Canaan, wacha kuturegesha Misri. Focus, stay focused on the goal. Goal ni Canaan, si Misri. Tushatoka Misri. What's it? Egypt. Tushatoka Egypt. Tunaenda Kanaani. Nini? Lock in. That is how your mind starts talking to you, and you also start calling yourself out and be like, no, that, don't take us back there. Don't take us back there. And now, after this stage, you get your spark. Your spark starts lighting up. It starts now lighting up because you've started building that relationship with yourself, and your spark is like, okay, I can be allowed to light and to shine in here without the dangers of life and everything else dimming me. Because I want to get my spark back. I don't think we lose our sparks. This is what I mean by I don't think our sparks are lost, they are just dimmed. Picture this scenario. It's at night, you're at the stage waiting to be picked, and you just have your phone with the flashlight on. There are no other cars on that road. You're waiting to be picked. You will tell by the light, right? Now, can your light see as far as the darkness covers? No, it's just illuminating hapo. So your light is already dimmed, or if it goes off, for you to see another light from afar, you have to squint. Inakuja to like unaona, okay, kuna light pale, but sijui kama ni light, like wacha when now it gets hapo karibu na wewe ndio unaona, oh, ni light. So I think our sparks just get dimmed and they flicker. It's hard to see a flicker of light when the darkness is overshadowing the flicker of light. So when your spark is now lighting and shining, you start gravitating towards things that make you feel alive and things that contribute to you feeling good, and you're just like, you know what, yes, I can live life again. Life is for the living. Today maisha. The beauty is, now that you know how to go about lighting your spark, you will have your spark lighting. At some point, you won't allow the darkness to overtake the spark, or to let your spark just be a flickering light. Now you can maintain your spark even when the darkness is there. You can figure a way out of, oh, I don't have to focus on the whole darkness. I can just focus on the darkness that is just surrounding the spark, my spark at the moment. And as you move from here, it continues lighting up the whole of the other darkness. Sawa. Is spark stage, spark where your spark has been lit up again stage, is you just gravitating towards things that make you feel like yourself. You start exploring things that maybe you stopped exploring back then because of what society told you, or because of the need to fit in, or because of circumstances that were beyond your control. Now you start wanting, okay, yeah, I want to do this. You find the things that make your inner child happy, and they contribute to your wholeness as a person. In this stage, you're not ignoring shadow work. Remember that. You're not ignoring shadow work. You're not ignoring your beliefs that maybe have kept you in the darkness for long, or the beliefs that have kept you in the same cycle for a while. You're not ignoring them. You're just aware that, yeah, they're there. I can conquer them. I can get past them. And even though I can get past them, they don't have to be the main focus for now. I can live life while figuring this out. Si tulisema healing seed destination. If you're treating healing as a destination, you will hate it. You will hate yourself. You will hate everybody. You will hate everything. You will hate the world. Utachoka, because it's not a destination. If you treat it as a destination, you will always look forward to getting to that destination and to finally feeling healed. But it doesn't work that way. It's not a destination. It's a journey. I am still in my healing journey. I'm still healing. Hadi wa leo. Nitajaribu kuweka leaves sasa. Wallahi, najaribu. Assume tu ni hiyo, but sasa kaka na kaka flower. Let's assume that. Si unakumbuka tukisema what happened at 23 is not what you start dealing, is what you start dealing with and it's not what happened at 17. Because what happened at 17 or 15 or 10 years is already set its root. It's already so deeply hidden in the subconscious that you have to start with what happened at 23, because it triggers something that has happened. It's been triggered by something that has happened at 30. Unaona? So this is you at 30, and what has happened at 30, it has triggered something that happened at 23, and what happened at 23 now takes you, your subconscious now is like, we can now we can reveal now what happened at 15. And sometimes you're dealing with what happened at 15, it gets interconnected to what happened at 25. You see, it's all connected. So you can't start healing hapa, you start huku. Because if you start hapa, you'll have to cut the whole tree down. You can't do that. So you start huku and you go mdogo mdogo, because zote ziko interconnected. Sawa sawa. Now, foundations laid stage. The foundations laid stage is where you have kept, you know, your patterns, your self-sabotaging patterns, your self-survival patterns, patterns that are just keeping you in where when you're doing things just for the plot. This is now foundations laid stage. You can pinpoint when you're just doing things for the plot, and you recover easily because you have this cushion. You've already laid that foundation that you can't go below, and you will be able to bounce back. Okay? All this healing is basically you working on or building your ability to bounce back from previous situations if they happen again. Upper juju, if they happen again and you get back, you've already laid the foundations. This is now foundations laid. This is now foundations laid. So there's what is below and there's what is above. What is above and what is below are very different, but they influence each other. What is below, before ulikuwa hapa, hauko umeset hii foundation, ulikuwa hapa. But sasa, you're not ignoring what is below this foundation that you've laid. You are not ignoring it. Now, you're learning to appreciate, because even when the foundations are laid, at some point, you'll hate the version of you that was here, yenye ilikuwa hapa chini. But as you go, you start appreciating this version of you yenye ilikuwa hapa chini, ndio imefanya version iko hapa juu. So hii version yako yenye iko hapa juu inaanza kufanya nini? If life or if you experience a situation that hii version yako iko hapa chini would now go kabisa kabisa chini, if it happened, this version of you gets here to the foundation laid stage and it bounces back. Unaelewa? You are able to bounce back from a situation that this version of you would never, or at that point couldn't, or did not have the tools to help them bounce back. So now you are realizing, oh, I am doing this for the plot. Usharudi hapa, umefanya foundation, usharudi umefanya for the plot. You're like, you know what? A week or two, I should be back. I should be getting back. Least maximum a month, nisharudi. That is now what happens with the foundations laid, or when you've laid the foundations, or at the foundations laid stage. This doesn't go away. The foundations laid, it never does. It just helps you to balance this version of you and this version of you. This version of you is able to handle something that happens, that happened before, when it happens again, because you are able to handle it, while this version of you couldn't handle it or did not have the tools to handle it. Sawa sawa, tunaelewana? Yeah, so that is it. The foundations laid stage, ukishamaliza, you're still doing shadow work. Yeah, you're still journaling, you're still doing, at sometimes you're not even writing it down. For example, for me, I don't have to sit down and journal for me to know what's going on. I can be in a matatu and my mind goes, yeah, you did 1 2 3 because of 1 2 3. But now let's not analyze the emotions, let's feel them. That is what the foundations laid stage helps you to do. You'd never get off that. You keep going back to it, and you also peep kidogo below that foundation laid, like, oh, okay, that version of me would have handled it different than this version of me. Hapa. Yeah. And with the foundations laid, somehow along the way, these versions of yourself hapa chini and these versions of yourself hapa juu, they start somehow understanding each other. When this foundation is laid, they start somehow having that conversation of, okay, I understand what you did. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you could have done better, but at 23, you did what you knew better. At 27, this is what we know. At 15, well, we couldn't control some things. At 30, well, here we are, and so forth and so forth. This is where now I would recommend letter writing for me. Write letters to future versions of yourself. Write letters to 6 years from you now, to 10 years from you now, to you in your 40s, 30s, 50s, 60s, whatever. For those in school, or you have siblings in school, have them write a letter to themselves at 25, 26, 27. That version of yourself reads it at that time, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, wow, how life has changed. How life has changed. Letter writing is important. It's a message. You read it and you go back to that version of yourself who wrote it, and you're like, oh my god, if only you knew. What? Mm. I do letter writing. For me, I do yearly. I write myself a letter yearly and for my birthdays. So during my birthday, I open my letter, read it. During the next year, at that particular time, I'm like, read this letter on this day. I read it and then write another one for the next version of myself. It's a good way to see how you've grown and how your life has changed over time. Sometimes people have seen on TikTok do videos and they're having like a conversation with the future version of themselves, asking them questions, and they record a video where they're answering those questions. That's also another way. You don't have to post it. You can post it. You decide what works for you. Is it letter writing? Is it videoing? Or whatever works for you. It's okay. Sometimes I read journals from when I was young. Anyway, from like a year or 2 or 3 ago. Yeah, you go to China. Yo, calm down. It's fun getting to read what that version of yourself was writing. You go to, okay, what was a gun held to your head when you were writing this? What's going on? And you think of, okay, what was happening then? What was I going through? Or where was I at that time? That is the beauty of journaling, the beauty of letter writing, and the video recording. But yeah, healing is not a destination, it's a journey, and a beautiful one at that. A beautiful, messy, as I said, beautiful, messy. Whew, it's healing and it's fun. It's fun. At the end of the day, have fun. Yes. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've had fun.